Life had been sailing smoothly for me, a 35-year-old guy married to Ellie, a wonderful 34-year-old woman, for the past 5 years. We were just your average couple, clocking in at work during the week and unwinding together on the weekends. But everything took an unexpected turn about 3 months ago. One lazy Sunday afternoon, as we lounged together, Ellie surprised me with a request to rate her friends' pictures. It caught me off guard, but she insisted it was all in good fun, so I played along. Of course, I made it abundantly clear that it was just a game and nothing more. Ellie seemed reassured, and we carried on. During the game, I found myself giving the highest rating to Lily, a friend of Ellie's who used to be her gym buddy before they became close friends. Lily was 33, and we had all hung out together before, so it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Then, out of nowhere, Ellie dropped a bombshell. She asked if I would sleep with Lily given the chance. I was taken aback, reminding her that it was all just innocent fun. But Ellie persisted, insisting she wasn't jealous and even encouraging me to explore any attraction I might have towards Lily. I reiterated that I didn't find Lily attractive in that way and that the ratings were just part of the game. But Ellie seemed unconvinced, persisting in her suggestions over the next few days. She genuinely believed it was better for me to satisfy any potential attraction openly rather than risk cheating behind her back. A few days later, we found ourselves at a house party at Lily and Joshua's place, with just the 4 of us. Bored with the games, we opted to watch a movie, and somehow settled on 2 clues to a film about couples swapping partners to spice up their relationships. It was an odd choice, and we all laughed it off, grateful that nothing came of it. But as Monday rolled around, I thought the incident was behind us. Little did I know, Ellie had other ideas. Midweek, during a casual dinner conversation, she brought up the idea of trying couple swapping, citing the movie as inspiration. I chuckled, assuming she was joking, but my laughter quickly turned to shock when she revealed she was serious. Stunned, I asked if she had someone specific in mind, and she mentioned Joshua and Lily. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I refused, explaining that it would be detrimental to both our families. Ellie nodded, conceding that she wasn't entirely serious, but the movie had sparked the idea, and she thought it would pass. As time passed, Ellie's suggestions to spice up our marriage persisted, prompting me to ponder the dynamics of our relationship. After 7 years together, it's natural for the initial spark to dim, replaced by deeper emotions like stability, love, and care, which are the cornerstones of marriage. I addressed Ellie directly, questioning if she was open to the idea of a non-exclusive relationship, but she promptly declined, assuring me it was merely to strengthen our bond. Reiterating my commitment to her, I hoped to quell any doubts she harbored. Yet, Ellie remained steadfast in her suggestions, dropping subtle hints about fostering closeness with Lily. One evening, her excitement peaked as she discussing my supposed interest with Lily. To my surprise, Lily and Joshua were entertaining similar thoughts about exploring their own intimacy. Puzzled, I questioned Ellie's motive for divulging such private matters, to which she attributed it to the camaraderie between women. Although I had mentioned Lily's attractiveness in passing, delving into explicit details regarding my feelings towards her or any potential interest was out of character for me. Despite Ellie's insinuations and Lily's apparent blushing, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Driven by suspicion, I conducted a discreet investigation of Ellie's phone, only to find it devoid of any incriminating evidence, save for a few irrelevant spam messages. Reflecting on Ellie's typically open and cheerful demeanor, I realized I had been treating her unfairly in response to her persistent nudging towards Lily. I had convinced myself that Ellie's willingness to entertain the idea of me being with someone else was a sign of her profound love for me. However, my guilt grew as I recognized the unfairness of my assumptions and actions. In the following weeks, our interactions with Lily and Joshua continued in a seemingly normal fashion, yet beneath the surface, an unexpected development unfolded. I found myself drawn to Lily, a shift fueled by Ellie's playful teasing and Joshua's occasional participation, all while Lily reciprocated with intense eye contact and occasional blushes. Who wouldn't feel a bit fluttery in such a situation? But every time this topic came up, I made it crystal clear that I had no intention of getting involved with Lily. Literally, I'm writing this because I find myself in a challenging situation. We have a long weekend coming up next week due to a Friday bank holiday. My wife and Lily had already made plans for all of us to have a short getaway at a beach resort. We've taken similar trips with Joshua and Lily before, but this time feels different. My wife Ellie is insisting that I have an intimate encounter with Lily during this vacation. I firmly declined, but she argues that we can always back off if things become uncomfortable. I asked Ellie what would happen if she feels hurt or possessive about it, and she responded that we won't truly understand ourselves until we give it a try. I'm feeling conflicted. I'd be dishonest if I said I wasn't intrigued, but I'm equally anxious. I'm worried that this could harm our marriage, but my wife believes it will strengthen our bond. She claims it's more common than I realize, even though people rarely discuss it openly. I'm unsure about how this whole thing works, so I'm seeking advice from individuals who have ventured into this territory and their experiences. Is it truly a good idea to involve a third person to spice up our relationship? Hey folks, guess what? You were absolutely right. She was indeed cheating on me. After receiving some solid advice from a few of you, I made a decision to go along with it and see where it would lead. Now, I definitely didn't want to have an intimate encounter with Lily, but I put on a facade in front of Ellie, pretending I was open to giving it a shot. I wanted to find out what would happen once I agreed. Ellie was overjoyed that I had finally said yes. On the planned weekend, all four of us drove to a resort that was about 60 miles away. During the journey, while Ellie and Joshua were enjoying the beautiful scenery, I couldn't help but notice that Lily seemed distant and nervous for most of the trip. I wasn't feeling great either, but I was doing my best to pretend otherwise. I didn't have any concrete proof of wrongdoing, it was just a gut feeling. We arrived at the resort on Friday afternoon. The plan was to soak up the sun until evening, attend a party organized by the resort, and later explore our desires. In short, everything was set up for Lily and me to get together. After freshening up, we had a sumptuous lunch and spent the rest of the afternoon lounging in the sun. I tried to have a private conversation with Lily, but she didn't acknowledge any discomfort. Instead, she smirked and said she was looking forward to the night. The party got pretty wild, but I made an effort to stay composed, anticipating the next step, sensing my unease. Amidst a haze of confusion and alertness, Joshua reassured me, claiming everything was fine and that Lily just wanted to have a good time with me. She was attracted to my physique. Now that I know the truth, I'm disgusted by his actions. I had no idea what time it was when we left the party, and suddenly I found myself in a room with Lily. We both sat there feeling awkward, and I couldn't tell how much time had passed. She finally broke the silence and asked how we should proceed. I questioned whether we really needed to do this. She gave me a puzzled look. I then asked if she genuinely wanted to be close with me. She confessed to having a small crush on me but had never thought about being close until her husband Joshua put the idea in her head. I sensed something was off, so I asked her if she truly desired to be with me. To my astonishment, I discovered that she had been manipulated in a similar way as I had been. It all began with Ellie sharing the game where I rated Lily the highest. Ellie also mentioned to Lily that we were looking for ways to add excitement to our marriage. On the same day, Joshua came home and expressed how lucky he felt to have such an attractive wife that even I desired. Lily believed I had told Joshua about all of this, but it wasn't me. It was, in fact, Ellie who had spilled the beans, or perhaps it was their plan all along. Since then, Joshua had been implanting this idea in Lily's mind. He asked her if she would be interested in having closeness with me. She refused multiple times, but he insisted that it would spice up and strengthen their relationship. Lily admitted she found my physique appealing, but not to the extent of wanting to have closeness. I made it clear that I never had any intention of it. I shared my side of the story, and she was shocked because all she knew until then was that I desired her. At that point, we both realized it was a scheme orchestrated by them. Lily confronted Joshua, asking if he and Ellie planned to do something similar. He denied it, stating he wanted Lily to experience it first, and if things went well, he'd consider it. I distinctly remember not talking to Ellie because I had no desire to be part of this game. I told her I suspected Ellie of cheating when she pushed for the hookup and checked her phone, but it was clean. We decided it was time to find out the truth. I wanted to confront them right away, but Lily insisted on catching them in the act to expose them. So, on the night of our supposed hookup, we planned to catch Ellie and Joshua outside. We knew they wouldn't risk anything at that point because we could back out and leave. When we went outside, we found them watching something on an iPad. They were sitting close. We told them we changed our minds and didn't want to go through with it. They looked disappointed and asked why. I explained it didn't feel right, and they couldn't come up with much to say. I also said I had a sudden client meeting the next day, so we had to leave early. I suggested Ellie continue the vacation with Lily and Joshua, but none of them wanted to stay longer. We drove home the next morning. The four of us remained mostly silent on the way back home. Once we arrived, I changed and then left the house. I decided to drive to a coffee shop a bit farther away. About an hour after I left, Lily called to inform me that Joshua had also left the house, citing some urgent work. We both knew what that urgent work entailed. Lily mentioned that she had asked another friend to tail Joshua and would keep me posted on their whereabouts. Expectedly, they were found at my house. Before I left, I had told Lily I'd return home late in the evening, and they couldn't let this opportunity slip by. I hurriedly drove back to pick up Lily, my anger mounting as I headed home with the intention of catching them in the act. I used my key to unlock the apartment, and there they were, lying naked. Lily quickly took photos of them while they struggled to cover themselves up. Without hesitation, I stormed into the room, tossed Ellie's belongings outside the apartment, and demanded that she leave immediately. They both pleaded with us to hear them out. Joshua kept insisting that they were merely experimenting, similar to what we had done the previous night. I grabbed Joshua by the collar and confronted him, demanding to know when he started sleeping with my wife. Ellie tried to intervene, but I pushed her away. He claimed it was their first time exploring this sort of relationship. My anger intensified, and I tightened my grip on him, grinding my teeth as I pressed for a confession. I fixed Ellie with a furious gaze and told her I didn't mind going to jail for dealing with this parasite. I made it clear that either one of them confessed the truth, or I would deal with Joshua myself. Ellie, sobbing, eventually agreed and pleaded with me to stop. They finally confessed that they had been having an affair for over a year, although they had been spotted together by a couple of my friends, and one of them was Lily. Luckily for them, none had informed us. However, Joshua and Ellie lived in fear of being exposed eventually, so they devised a plan to involve us in a couples swap and legitimize their cheating. I asked her how come her phone was clean when I checked it. She sobbed and admitted that they used to communicate only through emails, which she used to sign in only when required. They didn't chat often and used that email to communicate regarding the time and location of their meetup. It was just a cold, physical relationship between Ellie and Joshua. Lily left the house after hearing everything, and Joshua followed her. I asked Ellie to leave the house immediately. She tried to hug me, sobbing and pleading with me. I made it clear that reconciliation is not on the table. She tried to fool me, but I couldn't let her run over me. She only left our house when I threatened to involve her parents. I messaged Lily asking her to send me the pictures she had taken of Ellie and Joshua. I forwarded those photos to Ellie's sister and explained everything to her. Ellie's sister confirmed that Ellie hadn't gone to her parents' house. After about a week, I emailed Ellie the divorce papers since I didn't know her current location. I had the lawyer send the physical copy to her parents' house. They called me in a state of panic. I included Ellie's sister on the call and asked her to share all the details. Following the email with the divorce papers, Ellie began sending me pleas. She had previously sent messages seeking reconciliation, but the frequency of her messages increased. Meanwhile, Lily decided to involve her parents in the situation. Lily's father was a businessman, and Joshua managed one of his business units. So when the truth came out, Joshua lost his job, and Lily's father used his connections to hinder Joshua's prospects in his field. It's been a month since the day everything came to light. My divorce proceedings are ongoing, with Ellie contesting it and demanding a share of my house. I'm deeply hurt by the betrayal and the way they attempted to drag us into their deceitful game. I'll provide updates if there are any further developments, but if not, consider this the final update. I know some of you might have expected Lily and me to get together, but that didn't happen. As I mentioned earlier, neither Lily nor I wanted that hookup. We were both manipulated into it, but thankfully, we managed to escape at the last moment. My divorce has been settled, and Ellie didn't get a dime. My lawyer argued that if she claimed a share of the property, we would also revisit the divorce terms and ask for alimony due to the emotional distress. Let me tell you, if you pay your lawyers well, they can negotiate for some pretty favorable outcomes. She eventually. Once he signed the divorce papers, it was evident that Joshua's life took a downward spiral. Being ousted from his job at his father-in-law's company left him scrambling for stability. Despite Ellie's offer to let him stay with her in her shabby apartment, he declined, fearing further repercussions from his father-in-law and admitting that he never truly loved her. This revelation shattered the illusion Ellie had of Joshua's affection, as he made it clear that their relationship was merely for fun, devoid of any emotional attachment, just as they had initially agreed. During Lily's divorce proceedings, the truth emerged when Joshua confessed to being manipulated by Ellie and expressed his true affections for Lily. Despite his plea for another chance, both Lily and her father insisted on the divorce, leaving Joshua to face the consequences of his actions. Witnessing my ex-wife's exposure and humiliation in court brought a sense of vindication, feeling like justice served hot, just as she deserved. She found herself abandoned by everyone she knew, her husband, lover, friend, and family. Even her parents and siblings turned their backs on her, leaving her to face the repercussions alone. While uncertain about her current job status, the repercussions of her actions were bound to spread like wildfire, potentially jeopardizing her previous lifestyle with her current income. In coping with the aftermath, I sought counseling to grapple with the disturbing thoughts stemming from the planned hookup orchestrated by Ellie. While therapy is slowly aiding in my healing process, the journey to rid myself of her memory entirely will take time. Although friends suggest diving into the dating scene, I find myself hesitant, still processing the aftermath of such betrayal. Now transitioning to another tale, one that doesn't quite paint me in the best light, but one I'm willing to confront nonetheless. At 26 years old, I found myself entangled in a relationship filled with complexities and uncertainties. It's a story that speaks to the depths of human emotion, the allure of love, and the consequences of naivety and misplaced trust. I willingly extended my support to Jaden, covering his mechanic bills and even buying groceries for his family during their tough times, despite living 3 hours apart. His carefree attitude often amused me. When jokingly questioned about what he'd do if I didn't pay for his food, his nonchalant response was to eat less or even nothing at all, accompanied by a casual shrug. Despite the distance, our relationship seemed to flourish, with frequent visits and daily communication, until unsettling revelations came to light. Learning from his sister about his communication with other women while we were together was a blow, leading to a confrontation where he vehemently denied any wrongdoing, shifting the blame onto me and citing the challenges of our distance. His accusations of neglect and my reluctance for him to move in with me, albeit valid, were used to deflect his own infidelity. The ultimate betrayal came when a mutual friend disclosed his involvement with another woman in his town, leading to a confrontation where he confessed his feelings for me one day, only to vanish without explanation the next, leaving me devastated and questioning my trust in him. The revelation that he had swiftly moved on with someone deemed as easygoing and less reputable added salt to the wounds, intensifying the sense of betrayal and humiliation. Amidst the heartbreak, the necessity of scheduling a gynecologist appointment for and sexually transmitted diseases check further compounded the pain and humiliation, highlighting the consequences of his actions on my physical and emotional well-being. Despite enduring the lowest points in his life alongside him, offering unwavering support. Jaden's betrayal and subsequent abandonment shattered the foundation of trust in our relationship, leaving me grappling with feelings of hurt, anger, and disbelief. In moments of vulnerability, I found myself drawn to social media, particularly Facebook, where hours were spent poring over profiles of my ex and his new love interest, grappling with the painful reality of his betrayal and the swift replacement that followed. Despite the turmoil, I refused to shoulder the blame for his indiscretions, recognizing that his choices and actions were a reflection of his character, not mine. Deep down, I knew that my actions weren't healthy, but I couldn't resist the temptation. Instead of focusing on their flirtatious messages, I fixated on Destiny's profile, scrolling through months of cringeworthy selfies taken in a grimy, dimly lit bathroom with barely any clothing. It was the kind of content that even someone with loose morals might feel embarrassed about. Then, in a moment of weakness, I did something I'm not proud of, and I ask you not to judge me. I was in a bad place emotionally. I created a fake profile of an attractive man who claimed to have attended her school. In a whirlwind, I quickly befriended her friends, posted fake updates, and added her as a friend, all within the span of a day. It's surprising how many people will accept friend requests on Facebook based solely on appearance, whether they actually know you or not. Within just 2 hours, I had accumulated 40 friends, and friend requests kept pouring in every few minutes. It left me wondering who was more pitiful, me or these people who were so easily deceived. The following day, I began chatting with Destiny, and to my surprise, she was remarkably candid, even sending me photos of herself in rather revealing attire, all to a total stranger and without receiving anything in return. It made me question why so many men didn't see this behavior as a red flag. As a woman myself, I found it effortless to tell her what she wanted to hear. 2 or 3 days later, Destiny was already venting to me about her relationship problems with Jaden. Yes, you read that correctly. I suggested meeting up to show her what it's like to be with a real man. At this point, I had saved hours of conversations, including the dirtiest innuendos I had ever come across, along with pictures, voice messages, and more. It was time to execute my revenge. Meanwhile, as all of this unfolded, Jaden began reaching out to me, admitting that his actions were a mistake. I inquired if they had broken up, and he falsely claimed they had not once but twice, when they hadn't. Strangely, this revelation should have shattered my heart, but it didn't. I knew the truth, yet I reassured him that I still loved him, was willing to forgive and forget, and even wanted him to move in with me. He sounded thrilled, declared his intention to give his 2 weeks' notice at work, and even texted me later that day, saying he had abruptly left his job without notice because he felt they weren't worth it. He mentioned he would pack his things and head over later in the week. I'm aware that karma will catch up with me, but this was my way of getting revenge. I posted all of our conversations on the fake profile, tagged her in it, and shared the pictures and videos exclusively for my satisfaction. Then, I watched the drama unfold before deactivating the fake account, receiving 53 likes and 82 messages from her social circle. It was a whirlwind of emotions as friends and family witnessed the drama unfolding. Jaden saw it too, coincidentally messaging me immediately, expressing his longing to be with me again, completely oblivious to the situation. Friday came around, and he informed me he was heading to my apartment. However, I recently moved, so he didn't know my new address. I suggested we meet at a nearby Koreanic Villas sampling, to which he agreed but asked me to fill up his gas tank, conveniently forgetting his own credit card. In my forgiving nature, I agreed, intending to do so once he arrived. Soon, I received a text saying he was at the Koreanic Villas sampling, asking for my whereabouts, but I deliberately ignored it. As time passed, he began blowing up my phone, displaying concern for my well-being, but I remained resolute, ignoring his calls and messages. He even left voicemails expressing worry, but I remained unmoved. Eventually, he found himself stranded, having driven to another Koreanic Villas sampling, ran out of gas, and stuck at a gas station with all his belongings in the car. Despite his attempts to reach me, I ignored his calls, opting to get some much-needed sleep after the chaotic events. The following morning, my phone resembled a scene from a disaster movie, flooded with texts, missed calls, and voicemails, all from Jaden. Frustrated, he had to resort to calling his mom to come to his rescue. After that, I blocked his number and changed mine to evade further contact. Surprisingly, I received a message from his sister, the same one who informed me of his affair, eager to update me on the aftermath. She revealed that their mom returned home with Jaden sobbing, while she herself was furious. Interestingly, their mom's anger wasn't directed at Jaden for his infidelity but at me for my actions against her son. Despite the chaos, his sister reassured me, acknowledging my strength and affirming that I deserved better than her deceitful, unfaithful brother. Reflecting on my impulsive actions, I realized I may have tarnished Destiny's reputation within her social circle. Contemplating whether to reactivate the fake profile to apologize, I grappled with the consequences of my actions. Despite my lingering feelings for Jaden, I knew reconciliation was futile given the circumstances. It felt liberating to finally unload the weight of the situation and move forward despite the regrets and uncertainties lingering in my mind.